Hi everybody, and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you are returning, thank you so much for being here. If you are new, I'm Corie. Let's go ahead and get right into the crafting. DIY number 1. For this project, I have this metal vase that I picked up at the Goodwill. I want to say it was $3.99. I think that's what it was. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly, but I got it all cleaned up. I got the stickies off of it and wiped it down with a baby wipe. And now I am giving it a couple of good coats of my silver lining chalk paint by Waverly. Once that was dry, I came in with my elephant chalk paint, and I am starting at the base, and I had this idea that I was going to be able to let it drip down the sides of the vase. So when you flipped it over, it had this really cool pattern of these like up streaks. Yeah, it's not pour paint. I don't know what I was thinking. It's too thick. I could have figured it out, but then I started kind of dry brushing down the sides and I was liking the effect of that. So I went ahead and kept doing that until I was a little over halfway up or down the vase, however you want to think of it. So now I've got my buffalo check ribbon, and sorry, I was kind of not showing you very well there, but now you can see I am just putting a length of ribbon around the neck of the vase, and I'm kind of squooshing that part together where I'm going to be applying a bow in a minute. So creating my loop bow, just a very simple loop. I'll cut that little tail off, and then I'll cut another length that I'll tie around the middle to create my bow. And if you're interested in learning how to make different types of bows, I do have a bow tutorial on my channel, and I can link that in the description box for you. So once I have my bow created, I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on. And then I love wired ribbon because you can kind of mold it to your whim. And so I'm just kind of crinkling it, if you will, to make it a little wavy and fun. Let me know what you think. Hi again, thank you so much for being here. If you are returning, I appreciate you more than I can tell you. Thank you so much to all my sweet subscribers. And if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Corie. On my channel, I love doing all different kinds of crafts, DIYs, trash to treasure, thrift flips, all sorts of different projects, mostly Dollar Tree and usually on a budget. So I'm really happy you're here. If you have not already subscribed, I hope that you'll hit that button and ring that bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And I also want to share that I have started a new channel called Calm with Corie. Right now, everything I have out there is guided meditation. They're all 10 minutes or less. And I'm going to be adding some additional content around positive thinking and the things that we say to ourselves. I hope that you'll check it out and let me know what you think there as well. I'm especially excited about today's video because I am doing a collaboration with Kathy from Kathy's Crafty Creations, and she is such a sweet friend. She has such a fun personality. I absolutely adore listening to her because she has such an awesome accent. I just love it. But if you are not already familiar with Kathy, or even if you are, I hope you'll hop on over to her video after you watch mine and let her know I sent you and give her a little love. All right, for now, let's go ahead and get right back into the projects. DIY number 2. So this is a trash to treasure project. I haven't done a trash to treasure in a while, and I'm really excited about this one. This came off of a mirror that is part of my daughter's bedroom set from when she was a little girl, and she decided she didn't want this little frou-frou thing on the top of her mirror anymore, so we removed it, and now it's just a square mirror. So I gave it a coat, actually a couple of coats of my chalk paint, my Home Decor Black. And now I am applying a decal that I had created on my silhouette. I cannot talk tonight. My silhouette cameo. And I had made it a little bit too big. You know that saying about measure twice and cut once? Yeah, I only measured once. And then I forgot the measurement and I thought it was an inch taller than it really was. So I had to kind of cut it apart and piece it together, but it all worked out well in the end. I figured it out. So once I had my decal applied, I'm actually taking Elmer's school glue and I am just applying this all over the sign. And I bet some of you can already guess at what I'm going to be attempting here. I wanted to try a crackle paint technique. Now, this is the first time I've ever tried to do crackle paint. I probably should have researched it some more. I have a feeling that you all are going to be teaching me more on this video than I am teaching you right here because I am looking forward to the comments on what I did wrong. So actually it did turn out really nice in the end. It just didn't crackle as much as I might have expected it to. I think it was a combination of perhaps not allowing the glue to dry quite enough. I probably should have let that dry a little bit longer. And then I think I probably applied my chalk paint with a slightly too heavy coat in areas. But at any rate, this is my plaster chalk paint that I used over top, and I'm coming in with my heat gun now and trying to get it to crackle. And it took a little bit of time, and you saw me kind of push that with my finger. I was getting all kinds of bubbles, right? So it was heating up the paint and the glue underneath, and it was bubbling in places, and I don't know, maybe it's supposed to do that. Is it supposed to bubble? You guys tell me. Those of you who have done crackle paint before, let me know if it's supposed to bubble. So you'll see me tapping on it here and there every once in a while, but I did get some really good big cracks in places, as you can see. And then some other places, it was just, yeah, not a whole lot of anything going on. I did know that I have my image underneath here that I'm going to be peeling up, so I wasn't super concerned about it just yet. I was still optimistic. So I did come in and start peeling up my decal. And again, Miss Impatient, right? I probably should have let it dry a little bit longer than I did, but I was working with it. And so I skipped from the left side where I had started over to the right side where it was a little bit drier. I thought maybe that would work better. I just was very uncertain with this whole project because, again, I'd never done it before. And so I wasn't sure how long to let things dry. I didn't know if it would be harder to remove my decal if I waited too long or what. In hindsight, I'm thinking I probably should have let it all dry a little bit longer, but again, I'm looking forward to all your comments and suggestions for the next time I attempt to do this. And when you normally do your crackle paint, do you work with a decal like this, or is it usually just the crackle paint on the surface and then you're not really having a design on top of it? I don't know. Let me know. But at any rate, I just kept going through and peeling away my decal as best as I could. As I was peeling it away, it was picking up or taking some of the paint with it along the edges. And if I were not doing crackle paint, that would drive me insane. But because I wanted this to have an old look to it, the jagged edges was actually, in my opinion, adding to the charm of the piece and adding to the design. So I was really okay with it. And I actually felt like that was a benefit to what I was doing. So I don't know. You let me know if you agree or disagree. But it was fun attempting it, and ultimately, I really am thrilled with this piece. I now have it set above the doorway to my powder room on my first floor, so I see it all the time. And the way that my home is set up, it's at the end of a long hallway, and so you can see it all the way down the hallway. And I'm just so happy with it. I get to admire it every day. So now I've come in with some matte Mod Podge and I'm sealing it all in just to make sure that nothing flakes away, and let me know what you think. So today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. If you're not already familiar with it, Skillshare is an online learning community where you can find thousands of classes on any topic you can think of, like illustration, video, freelancing, design, photography, and the list goes on and on. Their classes are available for every skill level and include a combination of video lessons and a class project. I love the online format because I'm able to take the classes on my schedule and learn at my own pace. Most of the classes are less than 60 minutes and broken down into shorter lessons, which makes it even more convenient. As part of the sponsorship, Skillshare has provided me with a free trial, and I've recently been taking a fantastic class by Kat Coquillette on social media marketing and how to grow your followers. If there's something you'd love to learn, I encourage you to check it out, because the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box will get a free trial of premium membership, so you can explore your own creativity. And if you love it, it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. DIY number 3. For this project, I have another thrift flip piece. I got this at the Goodwill as well, and I think this one was $1.99, but it's just a piece of wood that seems to have been stained, and I was giving that a good cleaning with my baby wipes, and I don't know what this was originally or where it was from, but I swear it smelled like farm animals when I was cleaning it. So I don't know if it was maybe part of a chicken coop or if it just belonged to someone who owned a farm. I have no idea, but it made me think of farm animals when I was cleaning it. So I got it cleaned up nice. And I'm using my Adirondack white chalk paint, but I don't know if you can tell. I don't know if it's the stain that's bleeding through, but it just did not want to stay white. So I finally gave up, and I was at the dregs of my chalk paint anyway for that bottle of white. So I gave up, and I'm coming to my winter latex chalk paint. This is something I had picked up at the Habitat for Humanity Restore, and they basically recycle their paints. So any paints that they have left over, they've been creating chalk paint with it. So that was what I decided to use, and it was pretty much the same color as plaster. So now I have from the Simply Blessed calendar, if y'all remember that, from the Dollar Tree, and I've got this little bunny image that I thought I might use on this, and I'm looking at it, I'm going ahead, and as you can see, I'm gonna score those edges to just make sure that it can fit within the confines of the wood. What I really liked about this piece was it had kind of built-in frame at top and bottom. I just thought it was a really cool piece. So that was why I had picked it up originally. But I'm looking at this and I'm not liking the way that the color is blending, or not so much blending, with my design. So thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna flip it over. So after all of that with the paint, I ended up using the other side because I just thought it was gonna complement my design a lot better to have that nice deep wood tone. It's gonna draw out the color of that little bunny and the wreath. I just decided that that was going to make me happier. So that's what I did. So now I'm coming in with my orange gingham Dollar Tree ribbon, and I'm going to measure off a couple of lengths of that in a minute. But first I'm going to go ahead and apply my design. I had someone, I think it was one of my sweet subscribers, who shared that she uses wood glue for applying things like this. Now, I've also had subscribers suggest that I wet my paper. Of course, I didn't wet my paper because my spray bottle I could not find. So I'm just going with the wood glue and hoping for the best. It did wrinkle up a little bit on me, but not too bad. I was actually really happy with it. So here I am getting it all sealed down and trying to get all of my wrinkles out. I had paid special attention to the side edges on the right and left to just make sure that those were going to be nice and sealed. So coming in with my ribbon, as I mentioned, I glued under the edges on either side. You can see me folding under the edge, just trimmed that off a little bit more. Got some glue in there just to make sure that I had nice edges. And then I went ahead and secured it to my picture once I was completely satisfied that that was what I wanted to do with it. So I had cut those down, and now I'm just sealing those or adhering them to the picture. So now I'm going to make a sweet little bow. I considered putting it around the little bunny's neck at first. I was like, oh, that might be really cute, but then I opted not to do that and decided I was just going to put it up at the top where I originally had planned. So had just done a simple loop bow again and wrapping another piece around the center to create my little bow, and then affixing it to the top center of my piece. So now I did have the reverse Yeah, I'm admiring it, of course, now. So obviously I did paint the other side, and so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll make this reversible. What can I do with this? So I pulled out some cardstock that I've had in my stash forever and been wanting to figure out what to do with it. And then I also had those little butterflies that I'd picked up from Michael's. Now this piece really turned out to be Shabby Chic, and I love it. I do not normally do Shabby Chic. I would venture to say that I don't think I've ever done a Shabby Chic piece on my channel before, so this is going to be brand new. Would love your thoughts on it, but I am just really happy with how it turned out. So I'm taking my craft knife and I am just kind of tracing along the edges, or scoring or slicing, however you want to say it, along the edges of the floral image at a place that will be nice to kind of trim the picture, if you will. Hopefully it'll be easier for you to understand what I'm saying as I go here, and you can watch what I'm doing. But essentially, I knew I didn't want to use the full sheet. I wanted to just use about half of it, or a little less than half of it. So you can see that I kind of cut out the image there with my craft knife, and now I'm going to be applying that to our surface. I'm using wood glue again for this, and just making sure that I get all of my edges really well so that they don't peel up on me. So going ahead and making sure that that is nice and straight and secure. I'm now coming in with my butterflies. And they had these little stickies on the back of them that kind of stayed right with the paper when I pulled the butterflies off. So no worries, we'll just use some hot glue on those in a minute. But just arranging them in different ways, trying to decide how I want to place them. And ultimately, I decided I was going to keep them largely to the right side and center. And then I'm going to be creating a little bow to go on the left. So I have this fun ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I don't even know what you would call this. It's not a burlap. It's not a twine. It's somewhere between a twine and a burlap, I would say, but it's a ribbon. And I just thought it was really pretty. So I am adhering that along the top, and also I'll adhere it to the bottom edge just to kind of cover up my edges and make everything nice and pretty and finished. And then I'm going to use that same ribbon to create my little bow to put up at the top right. And I considered putting it on the frame, but then decided I really wanted it down on the picture part so that when you flip it over and hang it on the wall, it's not going to cause the picture to bump away from the wall, if that makes sense, because that frame does stand out more than the picture itself. Hopefully that makes sense. But now I'm thinking about how I want to create a hanger for this, and I didn't have enough of that ribbon left. Otherwise, I would have probably used that to wrap around the frame the way I'm going to do with this jute cord. I just would have used that ribbon instead. That was my ideal, but like I said, I didn't have enough of the ribbon. I think I had like maybe 12 inches of it left at that point. So instead, I am using my jute cord. This is a big spool that I had picked up at Walmart a while back. And so I've had this for some time, and it's lasted me quite a while. It's definitely a good value, I would say. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around the perimeter of my piece. And I did it twice, and then I created a big gap there. That's going to be my hanger. And I'll get that secured down. And then I'm going to go around it one more time so that everything is just nice and secure. And once I had it wrapped that third time, I went ahead and trimmed it off and hid it kind of under the frame area. Had a weird little piece sticking out there that I trimmed off, and just making sure everything is nice and finished. And let me know what you think. I thought about putting some sort of a word on here, but I couldn't decide and I didn't want to ruin it. So let me know if you would put something on here like bloom or butterfly. I don't know, you tell me. Now it's time for a shout out timeout. Beautiful Bobby, these are so pretty. Thank you for sharing with us. And so nice, Jane. My Redeemer lives. Very nice piece. Thank you. Marvelous, Stephanie. Stephanie's been busy. Look at all of this great work. And very nice, Valerie. Such pretty pieces. Valerie's getting ready for a show. And Abuela's Crafts by Lou. My sweet friend Lou just started her own channel. I hope you'll check her out. I would love to give you a shout out too. If you have interest, please email me at craftedbycorie@gmail.com. DIY number 4. So for this project, I have a little wooden egg from the Dollar Tree. I think it came in a pack of 6 or 8. And then I also have Dollar Tree yarn that Savannah from Savvy Crafts with Savannah had sent me for a mystery box hop that we just put out last Tuesday. So if you didn't see that yet, I hope you'll check it out because tons of great inspiration. And then I have this egg that you saw me just pull off of one of the skewers. It's a pick from the Dollar Tree as well. And I sliced that through about 1 inch and then I stuck it on the top of my egg. So you're probably wondering what on earth I am doing, but you will see very soon. So I secured my yarn to the bottom and I'm just going to wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap some more and just make sure that my wood is completely hidden. You can see me kind of squishing down the yarn as I go there and just keep on wrapping and wrapping some more. So if you haven't figured it out just yet, I am creating a little bunny rabbit. So we've got his body or her body and head. And now I'm going to create a pom-pom. So I'm just going to wrap this around my fingers until it gets super nice and full and thick. And then I'm going to cut that off and take another smaller piece that I'll wrap around the middle of my loops and I'll tie off really, really nice and tight. And once I have that nice and secured, I'm going to come back in with my scissors and I'm going to cut all of my loops. Now, this yarn was a little funny to do this with. This is like a chenille yarn. I think that's what it's called. But it's like, it's not a normal yarn. It's like a fuzzy yarn, which was why I thought it might be fun to make a bunny rabbit with it. So, I don't know. The little strands were all kinds of crazy, like, lengths. So I gave it a really severe haircut and you can see all of the scraps there, and I was like, you know what, I am going to make our little bunny a little bit give her a belly a little bit, make her a little bit softer around the middle. So I piled that all up on there. I did not glue it, none of that, and I'm just gonna wrap it right in there, and you know what, it worked just fine. So I just wrapped and just, you know, waste not want not, right? So I used all those little yarn scraps to serve as some filler. Now, if you have fiberfill, that would work just as well. I've been out of fiberfill, so using what I've got. And so once I had that all wrapped, I used a teeny tiny bit of hot glue to secure that. And now I'm attaching our little bunny's pom-pom tail to her backside, and that's gonna let her stand up on her own as well. So that's all secured. Now I am taking some of this, I think this is called floral wire from the Dollar Tree. And it's not your typical floral wire, but it's nice and thick, but really pliable. So I am creating little bunny ears with the wire. So getting them into the shape that I want. And I'm sorry if you can hear Sammy's collar going, and he was just barking a minute ago because he never has enough play. Oh, he's like the Energizer bunny, speaking of bunnies. So now I have this microfiber cloth from the automotive section at the Dollar Tree, and as you can see, I cut off a couple of little rectangles, and I'm figuring out the best way to wrap these around my little bunny ears that I've created. So I'm just trimming off the excess, and then I am going to be taking my hot glue and getting that secured all around. Now this is going to be the front side of the bunny, And I'm not worried about the glue. I want to make sure that I'm getting that all nice and sealed in there and bringing it in as much as I can, because I will be covering that up with some felt in just a little bit. So I want to make sure it stays neat, but I do want the seam on what I would consider to be the front side so that my felt will hide it. So I did that with both ears, and now I'm going to, and I left the wire sticking out at the end, if you saw that. So I'm using that to punch into the little styrofoam head. And I had a little bit of struggle there because I think I was hitting some of the hot glue that I'd used to seal it. But I liked using the wire because I could bend my little bunny ears however I wanted them to be. So now I'm using my adhesive felt from Arteza and gonna trim that to be a shape that makes me happy for the inside of my bunny's ears. And then once I had both of those the way I wanted them, I went ahead and applied them so that they were attached. And then I did the same thing with a little nose for her, and then I pulled out my black felt and I created a couple of little eyes, and then I also created her a mouth in just a second. So she's got her little eyes, and there's her sweet little mouth, and just trimmed that down as I went to make sure that it was the way I wanted it. So I set her aside for a moment, and I decided I was going to have her hold a sign. So I took a little heart that I had left over from Valentine's Day. That was also from the Dollar Tree. And now I'm taking my wire again because I'm going to create little paws and arms for the bunny. So I'm shaping, I know it's really hard to see, but I'm basically shaping little fingers. I did 3 little fingers and a thumb, for lack of a better term. And I'm measuring it around her back because I'm essentially gonna wrap it around her back and have her little paws stick out the front and have her hold the sign. So hopefully you're kind of understanding what I'm talking about and I'm making sense, and hopefully you can kind of see how I created those little paws. Again, this wire is super flexible. I've really enjoyed working with it. And now I am taking my yarn and I am wrapping it and wrapping it and wrapping it around the whole length of the wire creation that I've concocted, just to make sure that all of it's covered up and it looks like it's part of the little bunny that we've created. So once I had that where I want it, I did use some hot glue to secure it, and then I trimmed it off. So can you see her little paws? And so now I'm opening up her thumb a little bit, thumb's going behind the heart, and then her little paws on the front, and that way it's holding the sign, it's secure. So now I'm wrapping that around her like that, and I'm like, yay, it works. So I took the heart back from her, and I'm giving it a coat of my vintage Victorian pink chalk paint. If you have watched my channel for a while, you know I have a horrible time remembering the names of the chalk paint colors, so I made an extra effort to remember the name of that color. But that I did go in and just make sure that her ears were secured with some hot glue. You just saw that there. Now I am using my white Arteza acrylic paint marker, and I am just writing a little I love you. And I went over that a few times just to make sure that it was nice and solid color. And there she is. I think she is so sweet. Let me know what you think. And here we are with the final reveal. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. Thank you again so much for being here. If you enjoyed the project, please give me a big thumbs up because it really does help support my channel. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Bye. Hi again. I hope that you're enjoying the project so far. Thank you again so much for being here. I appreciate you more than you know. If you are new, welcome. Really, dude? Can you see that I'm in the middle of something? Yeah. Can you sit, please? Sit. Sit. Hey. Hey. Thank you.